My name is Debra Bruno, and I'm doing a book about my enslaving ancestors in the Hudson Valley. And one of those ancestors was of Vanderzee, and I have met a woman named Kitt Potter, who is descended from the Vanderzee family. She's part of what I'm calling the Vanderzee diaspora, and I'm here in Kingston with her to find some of the ancestors of Kitt and some of the ancestors who my family has enslaved. And Kitt and I spent the morning looking at Mount Zion Cemetery, and we found the gravestone of Thomas Vanderzee, who was your three times great-grandfather, who was a longtime Kingston resident and who was part of this larger Vanderzee family that was really wonderful in this area and in other parts of the Hudson Valley as well. And we've spent the morning also talking about that, going through church records, and getting a sense, trying to have a sense of who the family members were, who they married, who they were connected to. And we found some wonderful things today.
Why, Kitt, is this important to you?
Well, this is important because, you know, in my travels up and down the East Coast, and especially in the South, there's such a denial of slavery. And to find Debra, who, you know, has found evidence that, you know, her ancestors owned slaves, and then to be connected with, because I've been looking for family for decades, you know, where are my people? Because we were sold away or, you know, moved away because of maybe opportunity. You know, once, you know, the separation or whatever, and more opportunity came, then more of my people, my ancestors left Kingston, left Poughkeepsie for opportunities all over the place, all over the world. So I always knew my Vanderzee relatives in Poughkeepsie, but I never knew, but I knew of Vanderzees here. And it's just emotional for me to connect with Debra Bruno here and then walk the gravestones of the Vanderzees in Mount Zion. It was my first time there, finding family.
What do you hope this does for the larger population or people?
Many people don't know about New York slavery and the Hudson Valley slavery. They think of Northerners as the good guys. You know, we were on the right side in the Civil War. We freed the slaves. We were the abolitionists and the Underground Railroad. What people don't realize is that there was 200 years of slavery before that time, and there are remnants of that to this day in racism. And to own that story is to understand that story and to realize that every American needs to understand our full history. And part of understanding that full history is to understand that we are all in some way part of this great American fabric, and we have to understand what slavery means in all of that. And I'm fascinated by my own ancestors who enslaved people and trying to understand who they were, what possibly went through their minds as they bequeathed their enslaved to their descendants, and to tell the story in a way that makes people realize that this is still part of something we need to understand. We need to tell this story. There was more of an erasure.
Right.
It's very hard in the history books to find a true story of slavery in New York State and in the Hudson Valley. It's very hard to find reference to the enslaved themselves. Even though they served in the American Revolution, they fought in the War of 1812, they helped to build this country, they helped to build this area, but you have a very hard time finding evidence of that. So starting with a cemetery is a good place to start. So you can see soldiers who served in the Civil War, soldiers who were Buffalo soldiers. They were men who served in World War I, buried in Mount Zion. And it's a powerful thing to understand that that history is there. We just have to look for it.
What does that do, like on a personal level? You two getting together in this moment, like personally, can you speak? What does that mean to you?
Again, it's just very emotional for me. Some people don't want to know who they are. It doesn't matter to them, but it does matter to me. Who am I? From whence did I come? And where am I going from there? You know, and who can I connect with? Who belongs to me? Hopefully our kids, our children's children can connect with people who belong to them, because we're just so spread out now.
It's like building a bridge that got kind of torn down a little bit and rebuilding that bridge and having more of a bridge and more of a sense of our history, more of a sense of who we are. The more records we have, the better. The more information we have, the better. The more stories of actual individuals we can tell, the better. You know, they had names, they were human beings, and we have to give them their humanity back. That's the important part.